In this video, we're going to look at applications of multiplying fractions. What type of real-world problems would you have to multiply fractions? So in our first problem here, we've got Sandra, and she owns 3/4 of an acre of land. Her garden is 1/6 of her property. Her garden is taking up 1/6 of her property. How big is her garden? So we're looking for how many acres her garden takes up on her property. Now when you're multiplying fractions, something you want to look for in story problems or application problems is a situation like this right here. Here, let me get right here. When you see a fraction and then the word of, 1/6 of, that means multiplication. That's true for percents also if you're doing percents. If you're trying to find 25% of or 38% of, you're going to multiply. It's also true with fractions. So, you're probably going to be doing some fraction problems where they're all mixed up. You don't know if I have to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. And this is one key to help you to know if it's multiply. And some people will say, well, if the word is of and if the word of means multiply, that's true if it's next to a fraction or a percent. But just because there's an of in your problem doesn't mean you're always going to multiply. But for us, right here, we've got 1/6 of. So that means we're going to multiply 1/6 of what? 1/6 of her property. Well, how big is her property? Her property is 3/4 of an acre. So we want to multiply 1/6 times 3/4 of an acre. So we'll do 1/6 times 3/4. So multiplying fractions, we multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3, 6 times 4 is 24. But remember also, when you're multiplying fractions, you can reduce. Reducing you can only do when you're multiplying, not when you're adding, subtracting, dividing. Only if there's a multiplication here can we reduce. So we can reduce this 3 and this 6. Let's go ahead and do that. I always kind of like to reduce here. So 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 6 twice. And we multiply straight across, and we get 1/8. So that would mean 1/8 of an acre. And when you're doing a story problem, you always want to put your label on there, because numbers really don't mean a lot unless they represent something. 1/8 what? 1/8 of an acre, 1/8 of a gallon of paint. These mean different things. So let's see if this makes sense. She's got 3/4 of an acre. She's going to use 1/6 of it for her garden. So 1/8 of an acre is going to be her garden. Yeah, that makes sense. That seems reasonable. Now just to show you, if I wouldn't have reduced, if I'd have done 1/6 times 3/4 and not reduced, or canceled, excuse me, and not canceled the 3 and the 6, multiplied straight across first, I would have got 3/24. And then I would have had to reduce by 3, and I still would have gotten 1/8. So either way you want to do it, in this case it's not that big of a deal. The numbers aren't that big, so either way would be fine. Alright, let's look at another example. Pull this one up here. Okay. Tom has 3/8 of a candy bar. Jim has half as much as Tom. What fraction of a candy bar does Jim have? So if you want, you could pause the video right now and see if you can figure it out on your own. And then when you're ready, just hit play and see how you did. Alright, so Tom has 3/8 of a candy bar and Jim has half as much as Tom. So if we're finding half as much, we're going to multiply. We need half of the amount that Tom has. So we're going to do 3/8, oops, there we go, 3/8 times 1/2. Now would it matter if I did 1/2 times 3/8? Would that make a difference? No, it wouldn't matter. You could set this up either way you want when you're multiplying. Little freebie here. This is called the commutative property. Commutative property, which basically says it doesn't matter what order you multiply in. 2 times 5, that's the same as 5 times 2. 10 and 10. Doesn't matter. Okay, we'll just kind of put a little squiggly line there. Alright, so 3/8 times 1/2, or 1/2 times 3/8. Is there anything I can cancel here? I got a 3 and a 1. Can I cancel this 2 and this 8? 2 goes into 8, 4. No, I cannot. Because they're both in the denominator. It's got to be 1 from the numerator, 1 from the denominator. So, nothing I can cancel. I'm going to multiply straight across. 3 times 1 is 3. 8 times 2 is 16. Notice if I would have switched them around and did a half times 3/8, I would have gotten a 3 and a 16. Same thing, doesn't matter. So 3/16, let's see, what's my label here? 3/16 what? Tom has 3/16 of a candy bar. 3/16 of a candy bar. Alright, so there's a couple applications of multiplying fractions and when you'd use them to solve problems.